I been kicking it with Cooj. 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 Got a lot of shit to lose. I been kicking it with Cooj. I been kicking it with Cooj. I been kicking it with Cooj. I been kicking it with Cooj.
And here we are back at Kicking It with Cooj. I'm back home in Providence. I'm really excited. I had to squeeze this interview in. And this is, we just said talking off air. I haven't interviewed you since like 2017.
Yes, sir.
Which is fucking crazy. Welcome to the show, Nino. How you doing?
I'm good, brother.
Thank
you for having me.
Nah, thank you for coming, yo. Thank you for coming. We were just talking about you've had an incredible 2022. Let's just talk about this year. Let's doing the projects, doing work with Bodega, producing all. Let's just go through your year. Tell me all about your 2022.
Yo, it's been a lot, so I wouldn't even be able to go like too into detail, but I definitely had a lot of highlights, like you said, 2 projects, Idol and Amargo.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped 2 different projects in 2 different languages, which is crazy. And then even just got off the Bodega shoot, that was fire.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Drew, man.
Shout out to the GOAT Drew Bar, man.
Home team for real. And then just everything else, man. The life is good.
I want to say, like, from watching, like, I've been watching your career, like, front view for like almost definitely more than 10 years now. I want to say, like, right now, this is like the most confident I've seen you. I feel like you're definitely making the best music you've been making. Like, what did it take to get here?
Time and patience, I would say. And just, I don't know. I think at a certain point when you do something long enough, I feel like with you and hosting,
mm-hmm.
like it's like it feels like breathing at some point. You just like, this is what I do.
For sure.
And I'd like to think that I do it at a high level. So
no, you definitely
do. It definitely took a while. You were. I think you were one of the first. Yeah, bro, you were one of the first people to come up to me and say, "Yo, you're
Nino." Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember meeting too many people, but I vividly, like, it had like a fanned out groupie moment. Like I
would say groupie.
It was like a fanned out because
Yeah,
I remember I was tapping Rich like, nigga, that's Nino. I listen to shit on MySpace all the time.
He's like, that's Francis.
Yeah. And I saw you. I was like, it was How to Save a Life was the record, and I was like, this is an incredible record.
Wow, yeah.
And from then I just been a fan. You, Rich, Lunch are the first artists that I met that were, in my opinion, doing it at a very high level at that time.
Yeah, man. I think we just
that Met class really.
That's how the Met is. Though.
Yeah.
Like they just foster your growth.
No, definitely. You were like, but I remember being like this. Wow, he records in a real studio. You're like the first rapper I met.
Yeah.
That was like no. So it's crazy to just kind of see the progression and just see you at this point now where you're like easily one of the best in New England. I'm not gonna do the Rhode Island thing. One of the best New England artists, and like you've always moved like a. I've never looked at you like a local artist, if that makes sense. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like you've always kind of had like the branding, the like your covers are always better. You've always had videos, like you've kind of always been ahead. I feel like.
I do appreciate that.
No,
I
of
do
course.
think there is a difference, so I'm glad that you acknowledge that.
No, there's definitely a difference, and there's nothing wrong with either or. Like, I mean, we're all local to Rhode Island. Literally, everyone's in this room is from Rhode Island. But I feel like certain people do things at a higher level. Like living in Georgia now and kind of going to these shows and seeing how these artists are. I'm like, nah, they just carry themselves different from the artists I'm used to.
Yeah.
Like they already feel like a big deal. They already have like an aura to them. There's an aura behind you, I feel like.
All right, thank you, man.
Nah, of course,
Appreciate
man.
it.
So let's talk about the most recent project. A project I can't necessarily understand because I don't speak Spanish. However, the music is fucking fantastic.
Thank you.
Nah, of course.
You got enough Dominicans around you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get the gist. I definitely
okay.
get the gist. I can understand. Like, I know what's good Spanish music and not good Spanish music. But you're making phenomenal music. You and Mizuchi. Mizuchi's a big part of that project as well, right?
100%. That dude he's like my backbone in the studio.
Let's talk. For those who don't know Mizuchi, who is Mizuchi and, like, what does he bring to the table that just, like...
Mizuchi is the secret weapon.
Nah, for sure.
Like, he's the nuke of the game. Bro he's a super talented producer, engineer, whatever you want to call him. Music-wise, he's just a genius. He knows music down to the science. And luckily, I've been able to cultivate some sort of, like, relationship with him that it goes deep into music. Like, he's really like my brother, so we get in the studio, and it's like a family affair. So it's like yo, I'm just grateful. I got nothing but good things to say about that dude.
Nah, he's incredible. I'm just so happy to see him still doing it at a high level, and his production's always been out of this world. But I feel like what you guys have built together, like you have like a real deal, incredible sound together.
Yeah, man. Yeah, everybody needs their, Hov got his guru. Drake got his 40.
Yeah, everyone definitely needs like a counterpart.
I got Mama Zucci. So we good.
Speaking of family, that's another thing too. Like a lot of the people you definitely keep in the family. A lot of people you're working with, like I feel like I've seen you working with like Hill a lot, Av a lot. Like you're definitely are building something. And talk about those relationships and working with those guys.
Because you've been around, so I started off rapping. I don't do much rapping anymore. I still can, by the way.
Nino's fucking nice. And for those who don't know, Nino can rap his ass off.
I still can, but it's like I kind of started diving into other sounds, but I still wanted to be, within hip hop, and I figured out a way to do that by being a little bit more behind the scenes. So, if you think about it, like, yo, between me and Cam recorded and mixed WCF, Western Conference Finals by Hill. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know
like,
that.
Yeah, so it's like, yo, I did the sound on that. I've been recording some of Av's records, some of Hill's records, especially like Av and Hill bringing out Chasing Cash and getting them in the studio. Like,
tell me about that. Like I'm a huge Chasing Cash fan, and seeing that is so crazy.
It was cool. Like he's a really ill dude.
Man. Nah, for
like,
sure.
He's good people. Like very high energy, but in a good way. Like he kind of showed up and like kind of took over the room, but then everybody just kind of blended together really well because he's a real dude.
Yeah,
it's
facts.
Like, real recognized real, no pun intended, but real recognized real, and we all, I guess, mesh well together. He's a good guy, man, and I fuck with him, and being in the studio with those guys is ill. It's a really good time.
How important is it, like, working with like-minded people, whether it's, your relationship with Elijah, where he's just so multifaceted, super talented, or working with, like, a Sabrina, working with the people, you keep people around you who know how to work well, and, like, how important is it collaborating with people, running ideas? Because I feel like one thing about you've always surrounded yourself with other great people, and you're not scared to collaborate or like give shine to other people. Like, how important is that for you?
Well, I think that going into like a lot of like I lucked out because a lot of my working relationships always start off as like friendships.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got cool with everybody who I was around before we started working together. Like, yo, I would see Hill and Cam around for years before I would even get in the studio with them.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just it is important to just remember that you can learn something from everybody in the room. You know what I'm saying? You can't walk into a room and think that you know anything and that you know everything and that what you know is the end all be all. So it's like you got to be willing to know that you got to pick everybody's brain. You know what I'm saying? And a good quote that I hear is like, yo, success leaves clues, right? And so if you keep people around you who are successful, then without even knowing, you kind of like learn so much more about how to reach that level. And so I don't know, man. I think I think I have a good judgment of character.
I would say, yeah. Speaking of Cam, I feel like there's so much you can say about Cam. I think he is like the architect of the city. I feel like he is behind so many dope, incredible like movements, whether it's music, whether it's fashion. He just knows everybody. He fucking knows everybody, and I feel like what he brings to the table is he'll take you and enhance you to a new level. I feel like
yes, sir.
I'm giving everyone their flowers. Like
he deserves all the flowers.
He does.
Cam gonna tell you the shit that you don't even want to hear about
all
yourself.
the time. One thing about Cam, he's gonna be like, you got to do better.
If he's not gonna care about if the truth makes you uncomfortable. But he'll figure out a way to tell it to you in a way that makes you comfortable with the truth. You know what I'm saying?
No, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, he's very, very valid. Shout out Cam, man.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everyone. PVD just killing shit, yo.
Yeah. For sure.
So as someone who's like, what do you consider yourself like an OG now? Like since you've been doing this for like a decade plus?
Yeah.
Right? Like
I mean, I guess I'm finicky with that. I'm finicky with the word OG
because it sounds old. I get it.
Not because of age, just more like I don't like the little bro people, man. You know what I'm saying? Except for you, every once in a while. But nah, I'm kidding. I don't like to. I don't know. It's weird. Like I know that when I was coming up, I always wanted to be treated as an equal, and a lot of the people around me did, and so, I try to do the same for everybody else.
So, like looking at comparing their come up to like what it is now, I feel like what are the differences for like the newer artists who are like in the city or just in general? Like what is the differences like popping off now and just kind of like from the time you come from the MySpace era, from the Facebook era, from like pre SoundCloud, like you've been doing this a while. Like, would you say these guys have it easier?
I think in a lot of ways they do, in a lot of ways they don't.
Elaborate.
In a lot of ways they do because you do have access to a lot more tools. Like, you know, back then it's like there was just MySpace and it was difficult to get your music on iTunes. There was no streaming. You know what I'm saying? Back then it was, you know, a little bit more difficult to build a fan base because there was no social media. But then now it's like it's a little difficult now because it's a little bit more feasible to be a producer or artist. And so that creates a lot of people who are trying to do the same thing as you, so it makes it difficult to stand out. This is why I say, like, you could learn something from anybody because there's a lot of younger kids who come to think of it, somebody younger than me, I hit up Swifty the other day. Shout out him.
So ill.
I hit up Swifty the other day because I saw he was streaming, and I'm like, yo, how do you feel about streaming, like producing and stuff like that? He's like, it's a little shaky, but like, yo, people who love music are going to gravitate towards that. You know what I'm saying? And he gave me a little bit of insight on how to do that. And that's why you can't just brush younger people off. And I don't even know how much younger than me he is, but I know that he's from a different generation.
For sure.
Music-wise. And it was cool to just interact with him in that way. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him.
Definitely shout out to Swifty.
Good guy.
One of the nicest guys. There's such a cool scene right now. That's another dope thing I feel like we got to kind of live through, coming from like knowing only like 6 rappers to like there's a full scene in New England. I'm gonna stop like minimizing it to just Rhode Island, New England as a whole.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful to see, bro. It's so beautiful to see.
I feel like, and that's another thing. Is like, I feel like in a way, a lot of us kind of paved the way to do that. Like you think about a dope concepts. Speaking of which, what are we doing? Bring it back.
Oh, no, we're going to. We're going to do one in Atlanta and Rhode Island.
I was talking about the other day. I feel like that's one of the things that we're kind of we've been missing now is like those type of shows, bro. Because it's like, you know, especially after COVID, I feel like everything kind of
shows definitely slowed down. I feel like events kind of came back full fledged, but like shows have definitely slowed down. That homegrowns, like those kind of events that like showcase like this is what's popping in the city. Even in Atlanta, they have a Finders Keepers. Lily Rain was on one. What's her name? Super dope singer, signed to RCA. Storm Ford was on one as well. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, and just like those platforms matter because it's like there's so much ill shit going on in the city. So for the people who highlight it, it's ill. Dope Concepts was coming back for sure. I promise you that. I definitely promise you that. So let's go back. Speaking of shows, because I was aghast about this. Let's talk about your show at Crib, the Sedona show. A show I went to and was just in awe because I feel like everything you've been working towards for the past like forever since you've been working, I feel like kind of came to fruition at that show. I feel like that was like one of the biggest shows you've done, like in the city.
Hands down, the biggest.
Everyone knew the lyrics, which was crazy. Like, just kind of talk about that experience, putting it together, and just, you know, a year, like, it's been a year since the show? No. It's been Has it been a year? It's been a year since the show. Like,
almost. Yeah, no, it's been a year. Definitely been a year.
And just kind of looking back at it, just being like, talk about that moment and just all of it.
You know, that show was what kind of put the battery in my back to have the year I did this year. You know, and it wasn't like it wasn't like my biggest. It's kind of weird because I've played a bigger show. You know what I'm saying? But this was like for me to be able to bring the numbers that I did by myself, no openers. You know what I'm saying? Nobody like else on the show. It was just me. Like,
strictly just you. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like Cam had a DJ set. And then I played. Like, that was it. And just to have that was what showed me, like, okay. Like, I knew I could do this, but that was what had me, like, okay, I could really do this shit. And it was just incredible. Like, I'm still on the high from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever I'm, like, I got any type of imposter syndrome, like, I'll go back and watch it on YouTube or watch clips from it and be like, yo, I really do this shit.
No, it was a special energy in that room.
Yeah,
that
man.
night.
And it was, like, so great because yo, there were people in that room I've never seen in my life. That was the first time where, you know, people had shown up that I've never seen. That was the first time I've had people ask me to take pictures afterwards that I didn't know. And it was also cool because it was that, but then everybody who has like pushed me along or along the way was in that room.
Now there was a lot of guys that like I saw Tone that day, seeing Rich, knowing the Hit City stories. There's so many people. I'm just like, damn, I haven't seen these guys in years.
Yeah,
all the HF was in the building.
The
like
city showed out, man.
It was beautiful to see. It was beautiful
lovely,
to see.
Yeah. Now we just got to try to do it again. That's why I've been a little not hesitant, but like I'm the type of person, if I want to do something, I got to do it, and I do it again. I got to do it on a larger scale and better than I did before. So we plotting on another one.
You definitely take your time and like execute things at your own pace, and I feel like there's a beauty in that. I feel like it's dope to like, as a fan of your music, I can tell you very much take your time with everything. So when you drop, it's always quality, and I always take that over the quantity. So take your
Thank
time.
You. I appreciate it.
Nah, of course, bro. It's been a while since I can tell you how dope you are in person.
Yeah.
We here, but talk about some artists you do want to work with, like, but whether they're in the city, like who are some people that you haven't worked with that you've just been kind of listening to, peeping, whether they're from here or in general that you want to work with, whether it's on the producer tip, whether it's just on. Does anyone make you want to rap anymore? Like actually rap?
Every time Skino's around and he plays a beat, I'm like, you motherfucker.
Skino's one of the illest.
I be wanting I'm like, yo, I want a Hard Liquor EP with him. I always think about that, but that's just like that's not where I'm at mentally. Mm-hmm. But I do, I do miss rapping. I would love to do that.
Shout out to Skino.
Yo, I do want there's a few people I've been tapped into like locally. Yo, I would love to do a record with Olu Vibes.
That would be crazy.
He's ill.
He is very ill.
Hennessy, of course. Like I got like me and Hennessy, I've gotten a couple ideas off, but not like a full record.
I think you guys can do some ill R&B shit.
She's dope. Joe Bonnie too.
Okay.
I would love to link up with Joe Bonnie, like, cause his production is so cool, especially with the Latin shit. Like he has like a lot of electronic and almost like house kind of inspiration behind his stuff, and it's like I feel like that's kind of growing in the Latin music world. So I would love to work with him as well. And then on like the larger scale, like obviously, like the ultimate goal is like, yo, I need a Bad Bunny record. This dude Fade from Colombia is ill. This dude Fade, he's a Colombian dude. He does like reggaeton and all that, but he got a record with DJ Premier.
Yo, I was just gonna ask about that. Foolish sent me a record. He's like, nigga, have you heard this? And I was like,
Fade is
it's
crazy.
like some real hip hop shit. Yeah,
like with DJ Premier, that was ill. Late Night Jiggy, I would love to work with. And who else? Anuel. I heard the record. I hit up Z100 the other day, and I was like, yo, Anuel had Kodak on his album rapping in Creole. I said, we got to get some shit.
Nah, y'all need to. Z100's such an ill artist, by the way.
Guy, man.
Drop more shit, bro. If you watching this, drop some shit.
Good guy.
What was I gonna say? Speaking of like embrace, I feel like obviously like, anyone who knows Nino's Dominican as fuck. Everyone who knows, but I feel like the past few years you've definitely embraced that side a lot more, like musically. Like talk about that. Just like I feel like right now, people. It's cool to like really represent where you're from and your culture. Just talk about that, bringing it to the music.
I think everybody's just growing up and appreciating the sacrifices their parents made. And,
for sure.
And appreciating culture and like where they come from. And we're kind of in an era where it's like, yo, we don't want to assimilate anymore. We want to be who we were born to be, and
Facts.
I think that's. That's kind of why I ended up. I took a couple trips to DR, and while I was over there, I was like, "Yo, this shit feels right. Feels like home."
Talk about your trips to DR too, and how important it was going back home.
Yo, honestly, man, it was just cool. Like my first time back in like 10, 12 years.
Oh wow.
And I went, and it was just, it was love, man. I was just with family and enjoying how like it was crazy. His DR is very like calm, but it's very chaotic. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of movement, but then at the same time, there is time in the day for you to like just sit in a chair and breathe fresh air, and you don't gotta go clock in for fucking 12 hours. I feel like here in America, everything's just so like routine and like you gotta work, and over there it's like, yeah, people work hard
For sure.
but you also have the time to just kind of like chill. So they figure out a way to enjoy themselves and have fun without being rich. So.
Were you nervous kind of transitioning from rapping to like making more of the Latin style music? Did you feel like maybe some people like won't gravitate towards it as much, or like you might lose the fans you've kind of been building for a long time? Like was there ever a worry, or were you just like, nah, this is dope?
I feel like I kind of prepared myself for that, because even transitioning from rapping into like the stuff that I was doing before, like even before Sedona, like just I was like slowly gravitating towards like I don't even know how to put it in a box because it's like there's so much influences. Like it'll sound like R&B, but then there's like bedroom pop, and then there's fucking I don't know alternative. Like it's just different. You know what I'm saying? Like the music I make is like I've never been able to label it. You know, I feel like I try to the best that I can, but I've never been able to label it. But I kind of prepare myself in the sense of like, okay, well, you know, as long as it sounds good. Like I just want to make whatever sounds good. And even people who have been listening to me from the beginning have been like, yo, I don't know what the fuck you saying, but it's lit.
Here I am, yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? And that's all I needed is for people to, if it sounds good and I like it, then that's all that matters to me. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
No, that makes sense. And I can agree. You've always kind of experimented. Like even like, I feel like earlier you were prior to doing Latin music, you were definitely like, I would say you were kind of like on a Toro wave as well with the electronic sounds.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you listen to a lot of music, it's apparent and you can hear it in your music. You're very, you can hear the influence, but it's not where it's biting. It's a good amount of influence.
Thank you.
No, of course. What are we looking for toward besides doing the show in 2023? What else are we looking for towards this new year?
I want more projects from me. Like this, like I dropped 2 projects in 2022, which is rare.
For you, yes.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of want to increase my output a little bit more because I feel like, you know, I feel like it's time for people to just be expecting more from me.
Now, are you thinking like albums or just kind of like short EPs every so often?
I wouldn't be able to tell you because we still cooking.
Got you.
But what I will tell you is that, you know, a lot more of it is going to be in Spanish just because that's just how I feel right now.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, you know, if you with it, you with it. If you not, just, you know, find something else.
Now let's talk about, you know, when I met you, you were rapping. That was like very much the main thing you were doing.
Yeah.
Years later, you produce now. You design flyers. You design clothes as well too.
I've done it. Yeah.
So like you just become so talented in many areas. What drove you to do that? Were you just kind of like the rap isn't enough, I got to stand out more, or just like?
I think it comes from a place of like trying to be self-sufficient. Because at the beginning, when I was first like, when I was first rapping and stuff, like it's like, yo, there wasn't really a lot of people who I could find that would give me beats, or a lot of people who would make my cover art, or would do this or would do that. So I just did it myself. You know what I'm saying? Like when I dropped my first mixtape ever, I was fucking interning at.
Is this just a sample?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was interning at E-Man Studio.
Shout out to E-Man, bro.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to E-Man, man. Like for real legend.
Yeah, and so, you know,
You interned for him?
Yeah. When I was at the Met.
Is this the intern where you were you doing the CDs and shit?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was E-Man Studio. That was you and Rich, right?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was his spot.
Wow.
So because of him, I got to, you know, put out. He put me on everything. He took me to pick up the covers, to put in the CDs. I duplicated the CDs myself. I recorded my first mixtape at his studio, like, and that just all came from a place of like, yo, I gotta do it myself. If nobody else, then who? You know. I downloaded a pirated version of fucking Photoshop and I made my cover. It was whack, but it was still done. Mm-hmm. From there, you know, you just learn.
You actually did one of our first logos for when we were dropping our site.
Yeah.
I think you were just like, I haven't been doing it long, but I can fuck around.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like 2013.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at you now, like everything, like I love the rollouts you do. I like how ill things look. I love the aesthetics that you go for. So to know that one that's kind of coming from your camp and the shit that you learned over time is insane.
Yeah, but now it's different because now I got a whole camp.
Yeah, now you have a whole team of. You got this guy. You got Elijah on your fucking team. Like it's
Elijah,
unfair.
Violent Dolph, you know what I'm saying?
He's incredible.
That guy is the guy.
Yo, like he is the illest when it comes to
right now.
Bro, his talking shit game is insane.
Yeah.
And his photography is up. Like he's
the guy.
No, he's the guy for real. Like
he's the guy. Shout out Big Violent Dolph, man.
He was talking shit on some record. And I was like, this nigga's the illest of all time.
Bro.
This nigga is the illest of all time.
The People's Champ.
It was the Hoot record.
Yeah. The Body Rock shit.
Yeah, nah.
Shout out him, man.
Nah.
I'd love to do a record with him too.
Puerto Rican Jay-Z?
Yeah.
He's hard.
He's
he
hard.
performed at Rain's listening party. I was just like, this is the illest shit I've heard. Who is this nigga?
Yeah.
Man, I just love the energy right now. I feel like more than anything, there's just so much good energy in the city, and I feel like everyone's kind of putting out the best shit that they've ever been a part of.
I would say so.
Are you ever gonna rap on a Hill song?
I don't think I don't think so. I don't think so.
One thing about me, for those who don't know, I'm gonna always ask Nino to rap because I need
Yeah,
you
100.
niggas to know how nice he is.
100.
I think-
I don't know. I don't know.
I think your last rap verse out might be like it can't. I know it's not scenario, but it's the around that era is like kind of when you stop rapping.
Yeah.
You and Cam, I gotta make you niggas rap
Yo.
because Cam is also one of the nicest
Cam
rappers.
said he's retired.
Yeah, he says that, but I just come on. Is retiring in music a thing? Is that like a niggas don't retire?
You know Cam got like 50, 100 songs.
Exactly. Let's
in
be
the
fucking
cup.
for real.
He make like 50 a day.
Tell us more about the shooting with Bodega and what that looked like.
Honestly, man, it was really cool.
Was that your first time doing something like that?
Nah, I did a shoot with Chambers.
Okay, bet. Which is
That's
also
big
fresh.
business.
Shouts
Love
to
Chambers.
Curb.
Yeah. So that was only. I guess that was like my second lookbook. First one was for Chambers. It was fire, man. Drew kind of hit me up. Was like, "Yo, what you doing on this date or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yo, I'm free." He's like, "Yo, you want to shoot the lookbook for the sneakers and the clothes?" And I said, "What kind of question is that?"
Yeah.
And we did it. They treated me really well. I had a good time. Shout out, Drew, man. I'm just like I'm speechless. Like even when he explained it, like he was like, "Yo, the reason why I reached out is because you know Drew's very intentional with everything he does.
Definitely.
It's all the way down to the details. So he's like, when I designed this joint, it was like all about being a Renaissance man and being like a jack of all trades. And he was like, I thought of you because you are a jack of all
Yeah, you
trades.
do
You
so
do
many
everything."
different things,
I almost cried, man. I'm like, yo, bro, I'll hug you right now. Like, it was cool that he would even think of me in that way. And then just it was an honor because I love their clothes. I love what they do. It's a New England staple. So
Definitely. Like being, I'll be in other, like being in Georgia, like they know, like I'll wear the dunks, and they're just like, holy shit, like you've been a Bodega. I'm just like, yeah, it's from the city. My homie designed it. It's like a really crazy flex, and it's like to be in other places and people to know about our staples is insane.
One time I went to a dentist in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Florida. I was like staying with my sister for a little bit, and I went to a dentist, and I'm sitting there in the lobby in the waiting room, and he looks at me. He's like, "Are those the Bodega 997?" It's like, "Oh, white dude." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How'd you get those?" I'm like, "All right, it's up for real."
Nah, you feel me? Like that's crazy. Nah, all the New Balances he's dropped. Drew's on another level, bro. Drew's on a fucking other
The
level.
GOAT for real.
Yeah. Him and Nasty to me are the goats when it comes to the fashion shit, and Sudi as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to the fashion shit, like those to me, those are gods to me. Our city got some ill shit, bro. For real,
Yeah,
like we
yes,
gotta.
sir.
It's amazing to see, man. For real. Are we? Do you ever like? Are we getting a tour anytime soon? I know you want to do a show, but like,
God willing, it'll happen.
we gotta get you to Georgia again. I feel like they gonna love the energy.
You gotta tap me in with the Latin scene over there.
Man,
That's
talk to
it,
E. He runs it out there. Talk to E. He runs Atlanta. Everywhere I go, I just tell him I know E and I'm good. It sounds like I'm bullshitting, but I'm not. I'm not.
Hey man.
Nah, we gonna definitely get something popping out there. I think it'd be ill.
Yeah, let's get it.
We gotta do Miami too, cause my mom lives there.
Yeah, I'd love to do Miami.
I think that's where. Actually, before you leave, I'm gonna send you someone's info that I feel like would benefit you well, honestly.
Yes,
But
sir.
I can't believe this is happening. This has been like a long time coming.
I think so, man.
It's
I'm happy to be here again. Thank you for having me.
Nah, of course. Thank you for
Love.
coming. Anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
Get me on all the socials at Nino Francis MP3. Stream AMARGO. It's one of the best projects to drop this year,
It is.
and it's in Spanish.
I wish I could understand it, but like I know it's quality.
Duolingo, man.
Duolingo.
Yeah.
I actually just downloaded that for my son, so I'll get it for myself too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's lit. 2023, it's up.
It's gonna be a good year. It's been Okay, for real, it's been an honor just kind of watching you move and the confidence and just the execution and everything.
It's love, bro.
Come on, it's love. But thank you for coming, bro. I'm not gonna hold you too much. Happy that you did this. We definitely got to do it next time I'm in the city, and we gonna dope concepts. When I can bring it back, you gotta headline it.
We'll tap in.
We'll tap in. Say that. It's been real. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.